Just talking? Well, what's the show about? It's about nothing.
Hi, this is John Linneball, and I am doing this video called How to Study for the SAT and ACT Math section. Let's talk about nothing. This is John Linneball Tutoring. I'm John Linneball, and you can see my contact information here, John at johnlinneball.com, at www.johnlinneball.com. There's my cell phone number, which is 415-623-4251. Texts are great, and my landline is 415-986-7355. All right, so why should we talk about nothing? Well, the nothing that we're talking about is zero, which is literally nothing. But zero is incredibly important in mathematics. It helps us solve equations and more. Not bad for a real zero, huh? A little history. Zero, the word and concept, appears to have come from India. As we can see here, Sifr evolved to mean zero when it was used to translate Sunya Sanskrit from India. So the first known English use of zero was in 1598. The Italian mathematician Fibonacci, who grew up in North Africa, is credited with introducing the decimal system to Europe, used the term Zephyrum. So this is the zero entry from Wikipedia. We can see zero and its operation are first defined by Hindu astronomer and mathematician Brahmagupta in 628. He developed a symbol for zero, a dot underneath numbers, but he did not claim to have invented zero, which presumably must have been around for some time. So we don't really know where it came from, but it looks like it came from India. It does remind me of a conversation I had with one of the members of a family that owns several Indian restaurants in this area. He was from Punjab, and he said, well, the Punjabis, which is part of India, the Punjabis live in the Punjab, which is part of India, is what I mean, invented zero. So I told him, well, I'm not going to tell you thanks for nothing, but thanks for zero. Okay, so here we go, back to the presentation. So, to India and Punjab again, thanks for zero. All right. The properties of zero. First, zero is neither positive nor negative, it's just zero. Zero is smaller than every positive number. Zero is less than 1, it's less than 1/2, and it's larger than every negative number. It's larger than -3, it's larger than -0.3. And the sum of any number and its inverse, so if you take a number, let's call it n, and its inverse -n, it's always zero when you add those two together. For example, 3 plus -3 is 0. More properties of zero. Anything subtracted from zero becomes its inverse. So if we take 3 and subtract it from 0, we get -3. And if we subtract -3 from 0, we get 3. 0 subtracted from anything is still that thing. That means, 3 minus 0 is 0. No, 3 minus 0 is 3. Sorry about that. Obviously, this all makes sense when you remember that 0 is equal to nothing. So adding it or subtracting it changes nothing, if you'll pardon the pun. Adding nothing changes nothing. Subtracting nothing changes nothing. So, and of course, 0 plus 0 and 0 minus 0 equals 0, or
Nothing from nothing leaves nothing.
all right, so thank you, Billy Preston, for that. And anything multiplied by 0 is also 0. This makes sense if you again recall that 0 stands for nothing. So multiplication is just repeated addition. So 2 times 3 is equal to 2 plus 2 plus 2. So you have 2 3 times, which is 6. It's 2 repeated 3 times, or it's 2 added to itself 2 times over. What I mean by that is you start with a 2, then you add another 2, then you add another 2. So you've added 2 to the existing 2 twice, so you have 3 2's, which is 6. Whereas 2 times 0 is 2 no times. So we don't start with a 2, we start with no 2's, and we end up with nothing, or just plain 0. Finally, 0 is a multiple of every integer, since anything times 0 is 0. If the product of any group of numbers is 0, that means at least one of the numbers is 0. So if you see a problem, a times b times c equals to 0, then you know that either a, b, c, or two of them, or all three of them, is/are equal to 0. You can't divide by 0. Division is splitting something a number of ways. If we divide A by B, we are taking A things and splitting them B ways. So if we have 20 cookies and 10 kids to divide them among, each kid gets 2 cookies. So we have a problem if we try to divide by. So what problem do we have? Well, we can let Siri explain it for us. Siri, what is 0 divided by 0?
Imagine that you have 0 cookies, and you split them evenly among 0 friends. How many cookies does each person get? See, it doesn't make sense. And Cookie Monster is sad that there are no cookies. and you are sad that you have no friends.
Well, that was a little harsh, Siri, but thank you for your input. So there you go. It doesn't make sense because you're dividing something among 0 people, so how would you even divide that, for example? Another way to look at it is this way. If 3 times 0 is equal to 0, which it is, then 0 divided by 0 should be 3. But 4 times 0 is also equal to 0, so then 0 divided by 0 would also have to be 4. It should be 4. And we can keep doing this for any non-zero number times 0. So 364,231 times 0 is 0, so then if you divide 0 by 0, you should get 364,231. So we can't define anything divided by 0 in any meaningful way. So here are some more properties of 0. 0 to the n equals 0, since 0 times itself any non-zero number of times is definitely equal to 0. 0 to the 0 may be undefined, since 0 multiplied by itself 0 times is what? How do you multiply something by itself 0 times? Some would teach you that 0 to the 0 is 1, since all other numbers to the 0th power equal 1, including the review book that I normally use with my students. Others say that it's equal to 0, since 0 times itself any other number of times is equal to 0. Others just leave it as undefined. So you can even see that. I did a little search on 0 to the power of 0. Math fun facts. It will teach you that it's undefined. 0 to the power of 0 at Wikipedia, they say it's undefined. It's the most common possibilities are 1 or leaving the expression undefined. Math forum, ask Dr. Math. He believes that it's equal to 1. So the point is respectable sources have different answers for it. How does that affect you? Well, it affects you this way. The practical advice is that the SAT won't test any concept that isn't solid. If there's any dispute among mathematicians about a math fact, it's not going to be tested. The College Board doesn't want to have to change anyone's score. I remember when I was in high school, and it was before I took the SAT, some student taking it actually caught a mistake on the math SAT, made a 3D model showing that why the, in quotes, wrong answer that he had picked was in fact the right answer. So they had to modify the score of everyone who had had that particular math problem on his or her SAT. So definitely something like this where they can tell in advance it's going to be a problem. They're not going to put that on the SAT. Okay, so here are some math problems involving 0 that you might find on the SAT or the ACT. First of all, 0 can be used to solve relatively complex-looking problems. If you know the properties of 0, you can make these problems very easy. For example, for what value of x is the absolute value of 3 plus x equal to the absolute value of 3 minus x? Well, the solution would be 3 plus 0 is equal to 3 minus 0, which is equal to 3. So you can see that adding 0 to any other number is the same as subtracting 0 from that number. It doesn't change anything. It's equal to 3. So for what values is x minus 4 divided by x squared minus 9 undefined? This is obviously a new problem. Well, we know that the x minus 4 is the top of a fraction, that is, it's the numerator, and the x squared minus 9 is the denominator. So when I see x squared minus a perfect square, I know that's the difference of squares, so I can factor that. In this case, it becomes x minus 3 times x plus 3. So where x is equal to 3 or x is equal to negative 3, I know automatically that one of these is going to become 0. 3 minus 3 is 0. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. And so then if we plug in 3, we get 3 minus 4, which becomes negative 1. And then since this becomes 0, you end up with negative 1 over 0. Or if x is equal to negative 3, then you end up with negative 3 minus 4, which is negative 7. And then negative 3 plus 3 is 0, so it's negative 7 over 0. And both of those are undefined. Alternately, this question could be asked as what values are not in the domain of the function y equals x minus 4 divided by x squared minus 9. So you'd have to know the domain is the x values, and you'd have to know that when you factor this, you find out that, oh, okay, 3 and negative 3 both give you a division by 0 problem, so those can't possibly be acceptable x values, so they're not in the domain of that function. So I hope this helped. If you have any comments or questions, please leave a comment below or contact me at the phone or email at the beginning of this video. If you like this and you want to help me make more videos, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I do in-person and online tutoring for the SAT, ACT, and more. And again, thanks for watching this. Have a nice day.